Hello, Therese. If anybody have any question, please do reach and share. And, we will continue our discussion further. Okay. Hello, everyone on the YouTube as well as on Zoom. Namaste. Yes. Now, what do we have today? Anybody have any questions in a Sangha, in a group today we can talk about, or I go to the library I have? Okay. There's some serious questions, some are not so serious questions. So where shall we start? I know there's one question about Ganesha and one about Tantra. I'm keeping them saved for something very interesting and very auspicious day. And where I'm not much in a transition of traveling, so there was a question from somebody who asked, actually commented, not asked. When I said about bird making noise, most people can't actually hear it, you passing through. Somebody said bird not making noise, but they are melodies. Yes, they are only melodies if you get to actually hear them in the first place. So somebody to hear the melodies from birds need to be connected to the nature. In that case, somebody will not even miss there was something happening. So it's a different, in tamasic nature, you don't hear the melodies, you only hear the noise. My dear Maria, and I know bird doesn't make noise, bird makes beautiful melodies, but you have to be mindful in order to hear it and aware of it. And there was another question somebody asked. Silence is same time with all sorts of tension going on mind. Sometimes silence is bliss, happiness, unlimited. But that difference, why can't we find ourselves in a state of bliss? I don't really understand the question of it, but might have been I'm assuming, why can't we find ourselves all the time in a state of bliss? Remember the silence you practice, which is actually a external silence, which triggers certain level of emotions, certain level of samskaras, deep-rooted frequencies in your body come up to surface. So you actually get to hear the bit more aligned with the senses to the inner frequency, and your body start interpreting. So silence doesn't mean that you isolate yourself, and only that is the silence. But the silence is peak, and observation is if you are living amongst hundreds of people, but still you are in your own inner space. You are still aligned with yourself. You're still an individual living alone, basically. So when you are accepting your aloneness, when you become one with your alone, not lonely, remember, sometimes we can be feeling lonely, and then you say, I'm alone. Aloneness is a very unique, and it have a different mindset and different frequency of the person. But when you are lonely, which is majority of the time people are. They're missing certain level of comfort to the senses, means they're feeling a desperation, or maybe there's something is lacking. It is a same situation can apply when you are in the silence. You are desperate to speak. I've seen lots of people, they go for a 10-day sadhana with me, but they are waiting, so eager to talk. Even you give them a 10-minute of window in a day to talk, they look for the reasons and find the reasons to talk because they just want to buy that opportunity. So when you are lonely, you will try to find different ways to fill that loneliness. And that becomes a vicious cycle of your karma. But when you are contained in your aloneness means only oneness. You are only alone. Doesn't matter how many other people are existing around you. You are only alone. And once you feel contained in that your aloneness, you will not be looking for any reason to be distracted. So you establish in your inner silence. The practice is of dharana or yoga or meditation is actually deep down to understand the cavalier nature, your oneness nature, or reaching to the state of aloneness, and you feel contained in it. So silence, you can't find it, and even you assume or think that you reach to the absolutely abundance or in a state of bliss. A state of bliss is actually still a state of mind. It is not you. It is actually a state of mind which is experiencing the bliss. As long as your presence is subject to the calculation of the mind, you're all subject to mind, you're all subject to the nature. So it's difficult to achieve or attain the silence all the time when you are lonely. But once you understand and accept the art of aloneness and you practice it, only one body, one mind, and yourself inside, observing. There is nobody else, remember that. Everything what you see is all your creation and projection of you. So in order to be tension-free while you are in silence, aloneness, you accept that. You can take a retreat in your own body. That's what silence means. That's what meditation means. That you are retreating, you're retrieving yourself in your own body. That is a mental and physical based meditation. Once you completely become contained inside you, then you can drop the identity of it. And then you are not aware you are in bliss or not in bliss, but you only aware that you are presence. You are not nothing. It's like you have a awareness of your consciousness. Your consciousness is aware that I am, or whatever you like to label it. Just only awareness of the consciousness. At that time, it's not concept of the ringing stars in your ears or the guitar, somebody playing, music playing, seeing colors, seeing stars, having a cloud rainbow parties. That's not meditation. You are not with yourself. You are creating, utilizing your fantasy. You are creating something what your senses have already experienced. I'm not saying anything wrong with it. If it helps your mind to calm down, if it helps your nervous system to align with your body, it is a good to do it. But only to stay limited that and say that is a only ultimate goal of meditation. And that's where the issue arrives. Meditation teaches us to art how you navigate through your senses when your senses and body are not aligned, when your senses start reacting. Meditation is actually efficient practice. It is a very practical tool how to navigate through your life. Not bury your head in the sand and assume everything perfectly fine, which is sometimes actually meditation is being used to bypass your any emotions. As long as you are bypassing your emotions, not experiencing them or accepting them, not suppressing them. If you are using, okay, I'm having a little bit of issue, now I meditate so I can forget about it. It's one way, either you putting into unconscious or you want to bypass that emotion. Develop the strength of your mind and your energy level in the body to cope and confront that emotion in the body, because that is a swirling energy inside you. If you can learn to harness that energy of emotion, it can become a very powerful tool for you. Or it will eat you inside all the time, day in, day out. So there's many different ways you can utilize. Silence is one technique when you're meditating. Try to understand what emotions are coming. Try to accept them, observe them, understand them, but not react to them, not try to entertain them. So there was several things you can apply into the practice, but having a bliss 24/7 or state of mind in bliss, then you start a bhakti, continue chanting and be happy. That's what Hare Krishna said, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. But you can also meditate, practice yoga, start living a life that you actually can be happy. Rather than using the moral structure, expectation of you to suppress you down, religion expectation to suppress you down, education expectation to suppress you down, social expectation to suppress you down. So you're literally carrying so much weight sometimes. The day you can drop that weight, you can find a little bit of relief from the mind as well as from any stress in life. One step is to drop what the people expect from you and what you expect from yourself. Find a good alignment in that. If this is not aligned, will be a problem. And there was a next question.
Yogi, before you move on, there's some chat going on YouTube, and it's on this topic. And Omar's asking if one cannot be separate from another in any set of circumstances. What do you think about it? Please, is meditation one thing or all of them?
Meditation is a tool. Meditation is not all of it. It's like you can classify something into the meditation is not a destination. If you see the meditation is a destination, you are practicing wrong, my friend. Meditation is a process. You are a destination yourself. When your meditation stops, when you think that you're no longer meditating, and you forget the concept that you are meditating, and maybe that is the time you are a bit more closer to yourself. As long as you are meditating and trying to put effort into meditation, you are in the process of getting closer to yourself, or revealing your own self, your inner truth to yourself, to your mind, basically. So how yourself and meditation are not the same. meditation is a way you can find yourself to it. Meditation, bhakti can be a way to find yourself. Karma yoga can be a way to find yourself. It's not yourself. If you think the meditation is you, wrong concept. In meditation, you don't find yourself. Meditation, you calm your nervous system so you can actually have less issues, so you can continue your journey to understand yourself. So mind is a bit more clearer. So you can have a communication with your inner self. Your senses not only produce information, they also receive information. The information you produce is not coming from inside you. It's coming from the reaction of the senses that you have heard. The day the communication or the information in your body will start producing, which is aligned with your deep-rooted inner core. To that moment, might be changing 2 months later or 2 years later because your awareness have grown. Your viewpoint have not changed, means you have not grown. You're stuck in a box with belief. So meditation is not destination. It is a tool. And do not use meditation as a escapism therapy. Biggest problem, escape from anything is not going to liberate you or will make you find a moksha or will make you find a inner peace, because like you clean your room every day, but you can't be bothered to throw it outside, but you find out you can sweep it under the carpet. Is your room clean? It still has same problems in place, but it's not visible to you. Same principle. So I hope it makes sense.
There is a follow-up question from Omar and then a comment coming in from Ozzy on YouTube. And Omar's asking, is the silence different from the noise? And Ozzy is saying, you can dance and be silent. You can shout and be silent. You can understand clearly that silence is stillness. So Omar's
silence is not a stillness. Stillness, you can still have the noise. It's frequency. Silence is either how refined you are within yourself to understand the frequency of your within in your body. More still you are, the subtle frequencies you are able to process, your mind is able to process. Similarly, when you are in not silence of with ears, but literally you are contained in your center, inside you, you are able to hear, understand, feel. You are connected with the senses. You are in silence because you are not disturbed by the information you are receiving. If you are not reacting, you are in silence, because you're no longer available to any other sense other than what is actually happening inside the body. So there is you can be in totally silence, but it's a different, you practicing silence and activity. Or silence is not something, as I said previously, you cannot go and hide yourself in a cave and say you are in silence, lock yourself up in the room, you are in silence. Somebody who can't speak in a coma is in the silence. Not really, his mind is constantly working. Are you able to align your mind or silence your mind so it doesn't really react to the information it's receiving? I hope that make sense. And next question, there was somebody asked, is when you are meditating or being in a present moment, being in a present moment or in a meditation, is the mind is the same. Your mind is always same. Mind doesn't change. It only changes what your mind is responding to it. If you see the practice of being presence, when you are presence, you are mindful. When you are mindful, your mind is present, but when you are in a state of meditation or you're progressing towards meditation, slowly you stop dropping that you need to hold on to the mindfulness. You just are only. So your mind always remains with you. Even you are in meditation, your mind is with you. When you are sleeping, your mind is with you. When you are dreaming, your mind is with you. When you leave this body, your mind is with you. It only depends what subtle level it is working, how aware you are of your mind. So when you are in practice of a mindfulness or meditation or practicing a present moment, practicing a silent, is all the practices are different degree in a variation to the depending on individual consciousness or individual perception, how somebody is perceiving and what their capacity is. Your mind is always present. Only difference is how aware your mind is, how aware you are of your mind, how conscious your inner self is aligned with your mind. And somebody asking, is meditation one thing or all of them? Meditation is everything, whatever you practice. You can be walking. If you are mindful of your walking, you are practicing meditation, you are mindful. And slowly, when this becomes a effortless for you, you reach into the state of meditation. Similarly, the student, when somebody is studying, they can also be in a very deep state of meditation. Because if the mind is not distracted, they have lost the ego, they have lost the mind, they became one with that moment at that time. But that is a conscious mind. That is your projected mind. Your mind is actually still active, you are doing. There's only difference is when something happening without you doing it, it goes into a meditative state. So when you can walk, you can meditate, you can talk, you can meditate, you can hear, you can meditate, depend how much awareness and alignment you have at that time, how conscious you are at that time. It's not about doing, it's about how conscious you are, how aware you are, how aligned you are. This is some more question came through. And somebody asking why, as age increases, body parts like back becomes stiff. Now, how can we avoid it? Please give it advice. If it's already stiff, I can't reverse you back to the childhood. But there is many different ways you can soften it down. If you're already young or in a possibility that you do not want the age increasing to give you back stiff and then a neck problem and back problem and the knee problem and the cracking sounds of the body, please do start practicing some physical activities and adapt to a plant-based diet. Adapt to a completely natural plant-based diet if you don't want to have any problems in the body. So how you can help the stiff back? Go for a good walk. Take some physical activities. If you are a youth or in a capacity to do some physical asanas, start doing some yoga. That can become a good starting point. Start practicing with more awareness to your body. Your awareness can also release the stiffness out of your body. Remember that as well. Your awareness, your meditation can also help you with that as well. And if you cannot take any physical activities, try to go for a good walk. I say thanks because there is nothing but be thankful. I don't understand that question, but it's okay. So next question I have is from last week. Somebody sent message. Omar C is asking question, how you can be happy? I am very happy. And if you're asking how one person can be happy, very easy. Start living life, not exist in life. Align your purpose, align your thinking, create a santosha, which is a content. How more contentment and simplicity you can bring into your life, it will be the first step to your happiness. Simplicity. Last time I said that, somebody said, you're sitting in Mercedes and giving me a lecture of being simple. There was somebody's comment as well. But I am simple in my mind. I am simple in my thinking. I am simple in my action. It's not about you simplify everything outside, but you're living very complicated inside your head. So simplicity, content, and align your inner actions or your actions with inside you, how you feel. Stop existing, start living. The very simple facts, how to be happy. If you think happiness is a accumulation, you can never be happy. I can guarantee you that much. Till you find santosha, you can be happy. And hunger, you can never be satisfied. Remember, as long as there's fear, you cannot be happy. You can have the fear. You can have the fear, but depend, are you ruled by the fear? Or you use the fear as your guidance or navigation tool? Have I ever reached silence? It is for me to know, for you to practice. Have I reached? I can't explain where I have reached. it is more I describe it, more I will explain to you, the less likely you will understand. It's not the assumption of your capacity to understand. It is my capacity to explain that where I have reached in silence. Because one cannot explain the where one is being. That will be a interpretation of a mind based on the previous experience of it, or some other experiences through the books, reading, hearing, from any aspect one have created will be based on those interpretations somebody will be telling where somebody is actually being. So there's some more questions somebody asked. Is silence different from the noise? I said noise is silence. Silence is a noise. It's only degree of awareness, my friend. Silence is also noise. Silence is also an engage. Silence is also can be very noisy. It's noisy to the point that you start banging your head against the wall. So you can perceive the silence as a noise, depend how much alignment you have inside, or silence can be absolutely silence with no noise at all. So I have seen people, they're scared of silence. They find it very stillness or silence, noise really scare lots of people. But some people find it very peaceful and quiet. So depending on how your awareness is perceiving or interacting with that frequency at that time. And some more question is, can you read it, Michelle, from YouTube? I can't read it.
Yeah, so there's more to this topic. How can one person deal with depression and anxiety and be happy again?
Depression and anxiety is a chemical problem in the brain. So is your happiness. So you deal with the depression and the physical chemical imbalance in your body. And anxiety is rooted by some previous experience of emotions or something. The one day, once you understand them, once your body finds the balance inside the body, you will be happy and you will be in a state of peace. Your peace and happiness is not because you don't have it. It's been influenced by your depression and anxiety. So if you are trying to chase the peace, don't chase the peace. Work with your anxiety and work with your stress level and depression level. Try to find a tools, and engaging through the body. Your depression is physical, anxiety is physical, nothing the esoteric about it. But it requires a physical chemical imbalance in the body. That was causing it. Once you create the chemical balance in the body, you will not have the depression and anxiety. There will be completely different frequencies in the body. Along with the meditation helps your body, yoga helps the body. So if you're working, I'm talking about depression and anxiety, but I don't really want to do anything about it and just want to be happy. That way the problem will be. You don't talk about happy. You can read a millions of books about happiness. It's not going to be happy. It is a very physical fact because your body needs a chemical balance. So I don't follow the questions.
There's more to that. He's saying that fear freezes him, and feels like the thoughts are so different than others. So there's an issue of dysphagia, and I've tried everything, including yoga. So I think that the anxiety and depression and fear basically are very prominent in what to
Go
do.
and live in the nature.
Yeah.
One advice I can give it to you. Go and live in the nature. Into the nature, to the wild nature, not man-managed, where you can start working with the gardening. You can start working with the trees in the forest. That if you connect with the nature, there can be one help to your mind as well. Along with doing some physical, maybe yoga doesn't work for you, not a problem. Go for a good walk, but make it regularly, not just do it one time. Find a people that actually who engages you. Find out what actually pulls you down. Try to other people who have complete opposite interest to you. But sometimes our whatever problems we have, those becomes our identity. Because once you see them as an identity, or once you see them as your existing point, reference point, when somebody asks you, how are you? You always find out the own standard going slogan of your problems. Because that becomes your so deep rooted identity, that's what only people can relate to you. So how you unrelate to that matter, or try to find the people who actually you can alliance with, they might have a different frequency than yours. So try to find yoga itself doesn't work. Need a ongoing some physical activities along with yoga, your diet, lifestyle, where you live. But sometimes people, I know lots of people who have everything that you can actually have, but they still have fear of no money. They are really getting stressed about it day in, day out, and very anxious about it. So some anxieties can be helpful for them, but some anxieties are not really helpful for them. You can do the same thing without being anxious, but easy for me to say it. It is very easy for me to say it because I'm not in your skin. I don't perceive the life the way the person who's experiencing is perceiving. My lifestyle is different. Create a simplicity. More simple you can create, less problems you have. One fact. Second, your lifestyle. Third, where area you live and what are you living, your living conditions are allowing you to be happy and comfortable in yourself. Simple. Only person who can make that assessment is you. So I will say go back to yoga, go back to meditation, go for physical activity regularly, and adopt a good, healthy, nutritious diet. And align yourself with some group of friends if you have, they actually think slightly different than the depression, anxious people. So maybe just try to spread it. It's very hard to find people. So, but try to read a books or try to study a bit more. So try to engage in activities, all the senses are getting stimulated, basically, and see how it actually helps. So on that note, there's some other questions left hanging in the cloud, but we will talk about them next time. And if there's any other questions, please do drop a message or drop an email. We can talk about it next week. But before we go, I would like to read one more question. Somebody sent very long message. Where I struggle is letting go of how I think react because of my past. It's or looks like the similar stories and similar message. Because of my past, I have had horrible workplace that treated me so badly in past people, and a very mentally abusive birth mother. I have learned to let go of the feelings and forgive, but at times it is automatic trigger that brings out the past thinking and reactions. Someone can say or do something, or I go into the defense mode, but I know they aren't meant it, or they are not meaning it in that way, like past people. I have learned to think before react most of the time, but sometimes it pushes out. How can I let go of those times of retain my brain not to think as attack on me? I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. Haha. I don't find it a bit funny, but it's a quite serious question. So, Jay to Jay, I don't know the gender or the question. I don't know how to address you, but let's call it Jay. The sorry to hear about abusive mother, but it is one in millions. You can find some, but usually mother represent the compassion. Mother represent love. Mother represent care, abundance, forgiveness. Mother represent how to feel. So the what you have experienced, those lacking in your life, we could never had those emotion nourishing life or interaction in your life. So even somebody being very loving to you, you would probably find it as somebody being sarcastic because your body can't process those emotions. Your mind can't process those emotions. Somebody being loving to you, you probably find it somebody being unkind to you because you haven't had love. So whatever is from birth mother, I'm talking about, as per your statement. So that is the one deep-rooted issue. Change your relationship with mother. What mother did, that is her problem. But if you hold any regression, anger, frustration towards the root of your existence, which is your mother, is actually giving a negative vibration, negative emotions to yourself. So, in my view, personally, if I was in your place, my friend, I will start loving my mother. I will start loving my mother. Maybe she had a very abusive in her life. Also, don't forget your egg, while was in the mother's womb, she developed that when she was in her mother's womb, in your grandmother's womb. And that egg was developed with somebody else's womb. So it is a chain reaction of certain emotions that your mother gone through it while she was pregnant with you, while she was carrying you, because your water creation holds the memory. It takes a lot of time to react from it or come out of it. I'm glad to hear that you developing thinking before reacting. It is a good start. Now, whenever you feel like that you're about to react, my grandfather used to give me a chili, make sure don't do it, my friend. His therapy was, if whenever you get angry, you must eat a green chili. How many times your mind gives you hard time? So he said, literally have to practice for a few months only. So whenever you get angry or affecting, just eat a raw green chili. Your mind start dancing, you will think about it, reacting before, or losing, lashing out, and then you have to eat a green chili. It will be difficult. So please don't do it, because people can be very allergic to it. Don't take my advice. So you can find a way. The day you are lashing it out, you will not eat. You will go for fasting and see how your mind reacts. I will recommend that very simple process. If you make yourself a promise, if I am reacting for no reason, I am not going to eat food that day, because my body is filled with the poison of anger. My body is filled with the poison of stress and anxiety, and I'm giving food to it. And that will be absorbed my body again, back in my body, become a part of my nervous system. So actually, I'm not feeding myself a food, I'm feeding myself anger, pure chemical reaction to my body of a defense mechanism. So the simplest way, don't eat that day, my friend. I guarantee you, within a 1 year or to 6 months of time, your body will get better, as well as your mind will get better, and you will have less reactions. So that can be one advice to you. And second, about if your mind is in a state of love, you only see good things. And if the mind aligned with hatred, anger, frustration, and low self-esteem, all you will see negative. Even somebody is being nice to you, you will only see negative. And only in a space of love, in a space of openness, a space of warmth and compassion, you only can see little goodness. I give you a living example. That when you are in love with somebody, despite they have so many things that you don't really like, but you don't really acknowledge them, you only see them as just only loving things about that person. The moment that love go away from that person, you forget about everything. All you see, the horrible and negative things about that person. Person is the same. But you say, but you have changed. Person doesn't change. Love disappears. When the love disappears, all you see ugliness. All you see negative. So try to cultivate as much love as possible in you, as much compassion in you as possible. Cultivate inside you, to yourself, as well as in the process of giving. So once you are in that process, it reduces your ability to connect with ugliness in people, but connect with the goodness and connect with the positive attributes towards to people, as well as to the life and to yourself. So answer to your question, my friend, how to be happy: cultivate love, cultivate compassion, cultivate kindness through the actions, as well as to the thinking and to the lifestyle. On that note, that will be enough for today. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Thank you, everyone on YouTube. Thank you.